Hello guys, this is Cloud and today I'm going to be showing you how to use if statements in Python and how to use inputs with them. So first of all, let's open up our terminals. I have PyCharm and I recommend it to everybody who wants to do Python. So now it loads like this. So we want to create a new file. So see, I've already done that if state for if statements. So to create one, you just right click here, go on new, and then go to Python file, and then name it whatever you want. So now I'm going to show you what an if statement is. So for example, I'm going to show you an example here. Let's make a variable called dice, and let's assign it to the number 3. Now we can use if statement if it, you know it's correct because it will highlight in orange. Well, if you have my scheme, yeah. So anyway, if you write, so if dice equals, for variables we use 1 equal, but for numbers we use 2 equal. So now we're going to write 3. And now we have these. And then print hello. So now if we switch it to current file and we play the program, it should say hello. And because of that, if dice really equaled 2, but we wrote if dice equals 3, then now it shouldn't display anything. It should just say the process is finished. So, another thing I want to show you is elif. So you could do something like if dice equals 3, or if dice equals 2 or 3, then you can say print world. But so elif basically means, so that means you'll just check both of them, and it'll play. And if dice equals 3, we change it back to 3, and we play it. It says hello, and it also says world. But if we change this to elif, then that means if dice equals 3, print hello, and dice does equal 3, then it will do this one. It will execute this command, and then it will just stop the program, because that basically means that elif means that only do this one if the other one doesn't work. Only check this one if the first one, if, doesn't work. So let's change it to elif. So now it should only say hello. So now it says hello and not hello world. And another one I wanted to show you. So let's change it to 2. It should print hello. And if we change that to 2, it should check that first and then it'll say world. Yeah. So the last thing I wanted to show you is else. So else, and then have these guys. Don't forget your tab, your indentation, which shows that it's in that command. So this is basically saying if that doesn't work, and if this doesn't work, elif doesn't work either, and then print nothing works. So now if we play it, right now it says world because if doesn't work, because it says if dice is 3 but it's only 2. But elif does work because it says it's 2. So it will print world, and let's turn it to 1 or 100 or 1000 or 10,000. So on. Anyway, so now it's saying if it's not 3 and if it's not 2, then print nothing works. So now, instead of doing that, I'm going to show you a basic program we can do that helps you, that also uses inputs with if statements. So we're going to be making a program which basically says if number 1 is bigger than number 2, then say number 1 is bigger than number 2. If number 1 is smaller than number 2, say number 1 is smaller than number 2. And if they're equal, then say they're equal. So something like that. But first of all, we're going to need somebody to say that. So you could do something like this. Just say dice equals 1, dish equals 2, no, equals 1. And now you could basically just say if dice equals dish, print they are equal. So now if we play it, it should say they are equal. And then you could say something like if elif, which you should normally use after an if statement. By the way, when you use if statements, if always have to come before you use elif or anything like that. So at the start, so like if you're gonna do a bunch of elifs now, and then you always need the if first. So now we're going to say elif dice is bigger with this symbol than dish, print dice is bigger. And now finally you can say else print dice is smaller. Now, right now, dice is 1 and dish is 1, so it should print they are equal. So now we can change it to dish is 3. We will say dice is smaller. But we're going to make a program using inputs that basically ask the user for two different numbers. So we're going to write dice equals int for integer, and then input, or you could use floats, for example, which is basically integers or decimals. And now we can do something like number, or no, 1, and then we can just do something like this, and then leave a gap for them to write it down. And then we can basically do the same, copy it, but now we're going to change the name to dish. I'm going to say number 2 equals something. So now if we play the program, it should ask us for two numbers, 23 and 43.673. So now it's basically finished the program. So now we're going to write something like if dice equals dish, which means they're the same, print they are equal. And now we're going to make another one that says elif dice is bigger than dish, print number 1 is bigger. And now we can say else, which basically is saying, because we've got if they are equal, if dice is bigger, so now the only other one is if dish is bigger. So else print number 2 is bigger. So now if we play the program, number 1 23.333, number 2 23.334, number 2 is bigger. Now let's do 1 and 2, number 2 is bigger. Now, since that is clearly bigger, number 1 is clearly bigger. Number 1, it says number 1 is bigger, just like where I said it here. If dice number 1 is bigger, then print number 1 is bigger. Now something else we could do is say something like, so don't forget, if we want to use variables in our text, I taught this in the first episode, then put an F before and then use quotation marks. And now we can say so dish, if dish is bigger, basically we can say dish is bigger than dice. And now we can do something like copy that, and we can do the same here, but now we're going to swap it around, because if dice is bigger than dish, print dice is bigger, don't forget your squiggly brackets when you're printing variables, is bigger than dish. And here we can say dice, don't forget your F, dice, squiggly brackets, dice, and dish, which is here, are equal. So now if we play the program, it should say number 1, 32, 23.43. And now it should say 32 is bigger than 23.43. So that's basically it. You can play this program yourself, make it yourself, and you can experiment with it, make it multiple numbers maybe, like number 1, number 2, and number 3. And yeah, I hope this helped you learn. Bye bye.